Today I got a good one. I'm about to change the fuel injectors on my Land Rover LR3, the V8 model. I already have them off, but I'm going to show you step by step. Pop up the fuse next to the battery. Then once you remove that bracket, this bracket piece, when you pop this off, it's going to leak fluid. Now I'm left with the fuel line with no fuel in it, no pressure, no leaks. Now it's time to take this out. If you follow the screwdriver, it's going straight down where that T-bit was, and it doesn't require that much pressure, and you'll just pop up the rail. As you see, I took that out of the way, and that just gave me some access, so I just depressed it and pulled it on out. Right here is the back of a fuel injector. These things are in pretty tight. Don't lose this clip. See this little line right here, this slot? It snaps into place when it's on the fuel rail. Here's the old one. Here's the new one. On the driver's side, I was able to take the rail, the fuel rail, completely out. This is by far the fastest and easiest fuel injection change I've ever done. Here were my symptoms. Maybe they match yours. The car was sluggish, and when I started up in the morning, I can smell not necessarily fuel, but something that it was more of a stench, like a rotten egg, and it let me know that something was wrong in the fuel area. Then I would pour in a fuel treatment, and the car would just, the Rover would just work fine. Plenty of power. So I knew it was something in the fuel department, plus my check engine light was on. I should have just led with that, but I wanted you to learn what my symptoms were. So as you see right here, here's the old, here's the new. So pretty much identical. Now, I could just clean them, but this day and age, they're so cheap to just buy a set that I said, why? Let me just go ahead and clean them. Let me just go ahead and put these new ones in. It's a little faster and easier. Now, the range, this is opinionated, because from Amazon you can go as low as $100, and if you go to the dealership, as much as $270 each. So you decide where you want to go. The fuel injectors themselves are pretty tight in the fuel rail, but taking the fuel rail off was a breeze. All you need to do is make sure you're in a well-ventilated area, bleed the fuel pressure, disconnect the battery, disconnect the fuel line, and you're going to need some gloves because fuel is going to pour out. Get you some type of cup, jar, something to catch the fuel coming out, and some absorbent pad to sit on top of the engine. Now, here's a little tip. I didn't do it, but here's a tip for you. Pressure wash your engine before you do this, just so it's clean of any debris, so that nothing goes down into the hole where your fuel injectors are. After you bleed the system, after you take the line apart, there's only 2 screws that are holding the fuel rail down. You get rid of those screws, you get rid of the bracket, then you disconnect the wire harnesses, which I just used my fingers to disconnect it, and you pop them off. You kind of finagle the wire harnesses out of your way, a few lines here or there, a few hoses on the top, and then you're done. You're like, what? Next thing you know, in an hour, those things are off. In under 2 hours, you can take the old ones out, put the new ones in. I told you everything, and let me go ahead and show you everything. The first thing you want to do is cut the fuel pressure to your Rover. So you come over here and you pop up the fuse next to the battery, pop up the fuse cover next to the battery, and you're going to take out this fuse, this one right here, it's a 25 amp, and then this big relay. So this first fuse right here was the 25 amp, and then here's your big relay. You take those out, sit your fuse box to the side, then you take your gas cap off, and then you start the car until it goes and it won't start, and then you come back and you simply just put this back on, and then you're done with releasing the fuel pressure. This is the bracket that the engine cover, the plastic cover that's on the top, it attaches to this bracket. You simply take these two nuts off right here. I believe they're 8mm, and then the bracket just comes out of the way. Then once you remove that bracket, right here on your, this is the fuel coming from the fuel pump into the fuel rail right here. This little bracket piece right here, this bracket piece is going to be wrapped around the fuel line, and then this part is going to be connected to the hose. You take this off, set this to the side, then on your fuel line, this particular clamp is like one of these. It's this type of a clamp, well, the little spring loaded, and it's facing that way. So it's on there like this, and well, at least it was for mine, and it's a little nightmarish. So what you want to do is you want to take it somehow and twist it, and then pull it off, and then set that to the side, and then this will pop out. Then this will pop out. When you pop this off, it's going to leak fluid, so make sure you have some type of absorbent pad under there. And then I just used a cup, and I caught the rest of the fuel coming out of the hose. Then I just took a little plastic bag, put the hose in the plastic bag just in case any more leaked out, and then just set that out of my way. Now I'm left with the fuel line with no fuel in it, no pressure, no leaks. Now it's time to take this out. So what I did, I took the oil tube off. You simply just pop it up right here and then just twist it out. I took it out. If you want, put a bag or something in there so no debris goes into your engine. And what that did is that just gave me a little bit more clearance so I can move to the next step, which was take out 2 bolts. These 2 bolts, this is your T-bit. One is right back here and the other is right here. If you follow the screwdriver, it's going straight down where that T-bit was, and then the other T-bit just goes right here, just straight down right there. Once you take those 2 out, then all you have to do is get you a long screwdriver, and it doesn't require that much pressure, and you'll just pop up the rail. As you see, the rail is moving, so you pop it up on this side, come over here, pop it up on this side, and you'll be able to just kind of lift it up. You can kind of lift it up out of the way, and as you see, this harness will be in your way. Then I took this line off. It goes from the top of the valve. I took that out of the way, and that just gave me some access. That's one of 3 lines I'm gonna take out of the way. Now you have to remove your harnesses, and these things depress very easy. So I just depressed it and pulled it on out. Now I take this one out just to show you, but it's still just that easy when they're connected to the fuel rail. I just disconnected the other 3, but it's very simple. All you want to do is depress this in. You just depress this and it comes right out. See, all I did was depress it and it comes right out. And now the wire harness is detached. Once you eliminate the few points where it's connected with the zip tie, you want to get it out of your way. Right back here where your line connects to the fuel rail, this part is going to be your biggest issue. So you give yourself as much space as you can back there, and you see the fuel line is nice and loose at this point. So you would simply maneuver this out of your way, and then your fuel rail will just pop right on out. Now once you're right here, you want to go ahead and grab your cup again, or whatever it is you're catching the fuel, because when you start to take off each injector, fuel is still going to come out. Right here is the back of a fuel injector. They're all the same. You want to take your flathead screwdriver and get it in here, and you're just going to wiggle it back and forth like that. And as you do, and then you're going to pry it away. Now, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to lose that clip. I'll show you how it looks on one that I already took out. So here's the clip. These things are in pretty tight. Grab your cup or whatever it is you're using to catch your fuel. Get it ready, and I grab it and kind of twist and pull a little. Twist and pull, twist and pull. Twist and pull. And then if any fuel comes out, obviously catch the fuel. So let me show you what this looks like up close. Don't lose this clip because you might not get one in your new pack. See this little line right here, this slot? That's where this clip slides in. This clip slides right in there. As you see, it has little grooves. It slides right in and connects the fuel injector to the fuel rail. The fuel injector is going to go you're going to push it up just until you see this exposed, and then you're going to slide that clip over. Looks like this, and it'll snap into place. It snaps into place when it's on the fuel rail, and the fuel rail will be sticking out right in these little slots, and then you know it's in there secure. So this is how it's going to look inside the fuel rail. Here's the old one, here's the new one. I'm going to take them out one at a time. I take out one, I put one in. Take out one, put one in. What that's going to do is minimize the fuel that is pouring out onto the engine, if any. On the driver's side, I was able to take the fuel rail completely out, and it's very easy for me to show you how to do this. So here's the new injector. Now, the new injector, the seals are pretty tight. I mean, they're brand new, so if you put it in there, it's pretty tight. What I did, I just happened to have some fuel treatment left, and I just dipped my finger in a little bit. I dip my finger in some, and I go just around just to lubricate the seal so I don't rip it when you go to put it in there. And you go ahead and you push it in. And I pushed it in, and again, you want to leave, you don't want to push it past that line. So I need that little line exposed. And now let me put the clip on. I keep saying it, don't lose this clip. It's gonna go in facing up. I don't know if you heard that clip, but now that is in. That is in. It's lined up on the fuel rail. It's lined up on the fuel injector. Nice and snug. So I'm going to do that to the remaining 3. Then right before I go to put this fuel rail back into the engine, I'll do the same with the Lucas cleaner. Just put a little bit around the seals at the bottom just so they slide in a little easier. You don't want to tear anything. Once you get all 4 of them back on and you seat them right at the top of the engine, you want to push it down back to forward. Make sure they're all snug. Make sure that the holes line up with the screws, and then you just tighten them down. So push it in, push it in, push it in. Once you tighten down the screws that hold the rail to the engine, you just want to attach the harness back in. I give my fuel rail a tug on both sides. It's very sturdy. Then I'm going to attach the fuel line. After the fuel line, I'm going to attach this clip back on, put my bracket back on, put the oil tube back on. The only difference with the passenger side is on the bracket, when you remove it, in order to remove the bracket, there's 2 wire harnesses, and then there's one that's connected to the back. I just set it out the way. Then the back of the fuel rail, it's a harness connected, and it goes behind the manifold, and it kind of just pops up. And as you see, here is the fuel rail for the passenger side. And man, this back one is very dirty. So I'll take one injector off, put one injector back on, and then put everything on in reverse, and then we will start the vehicle up. It's always a good idea to have your fire extinguisher handy when you're working on your vehicle. I just finished the passenger side. I put the harness back on. I put the bracket back on. I connected all the lines, all the wires, all the hoses. Everything is connected. You want to double, triple, quadruple check to make sure everything is connected. What I did is I just sprayed some water over the whole engine just in case there's any fuel vapors or anything. Hopefully the water will knock that down, and as soon as it starts, I'll go ahead and degrease the engine again. So now I'm just going to put the relays back in, the fuse back in, and connect the battery. Now once you've finished and you've double, triple, quadruple checked to make sure everything is tight, everything is fastened, it's time to turn it on. So when you first go to turn it on, it might not start because you have an air in the line. Don't lose it, start tearing up stuff, cussing. All you have to do is take the key, turn it to on, turn it to off. Turn it to on, turn it to off. Turn it to on, turn it to off. What that is doing is you're allowing the fuel pump to take the air that's in the line and put it into the fuel tank. And then again, once you do start it or try to start it, make sure you have a fire extinguisher on hand, because there might be fuel and you don't want to fire. So I'm about to start it up. Okay, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's trying to start, but there's air in the system. So I'm going to turn it to on, off, on, off, and that should push the air out of the line. I did it 3 times just to make sure. Now let me try to start it. Okay. Now it's started and it's running fine. What you just saw me doing, spraying the water onto the engine, I wanted to make sure that the fuel injectors had completely made a connection, a seal, and that no air was getting in or fuel was getting out. So by me spraying the water, and if you hear any disruptions in the engine, then you know that water is getting in. Since I did it, I didn't see any. I'm pretty confident that there's no leaks or nothing. So as you see, it's running, it's idling fine, it's not hesitant, it's not rough. So I think it's a success. I'm going to drive it, test it out for a few days. So if you guys see this video and it's all thumbs up, everything is good. If you have any questions, any anything that I didn't answer that you might want me to, feel free to hit me up. I'll be sure to get back at you. As usual, you guys have a nice, blessed day. Just as a good idea, what I think you should do is pressure wash your engine just in case you got any fuel, any oil anywhere. So, forgot to mention that. Pro tip, even though I'm not a pro.